and welcome to the Press Start Podcast, Press Start Australia's weekly video game discussion podcast, brought to you today by SteelSeries and their new range of Alias microphones. There are mics made for gamers, and a big shout out SteelSeries for coming back in 2024 and continuing to support the show. It is, of course, our first one of the year, and I'm your host, Ewan, joined today by my fellow gamers and co-hosts, Shannon.
Hello.
James.
Hello.
And Kieron.
Hello.
On the show today, we're going to be talking about Xbox games going multi-platform. Probably not for the first time. I feel like we've spoken about that before. And our most anticipated games of 2024. But first, I'm curious. It's been a couple of weeks at least since I last spoke to the three of you. What games have you been playing during the break? Kieron, perhaps we start with you.
Well, I mean, I didn't get as much gaming time in as I would have hoped, because I was sick through a lot of my break, unfortunately. But I played through Assassin's Creed Mirage finally.
Oh yeah.
Nabbed the platinum in that and thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was actually really good. Probably one of my favorites since like maybe Odyssey, which isn't a long time, but yeah.
Yeah, was Valhalla the only one that came to?
It's like the only other game.
Yeah, you liked the more kind of focused take on the series, though. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they did a good job by sort of distilling it into what makes the games good and doing it on a smaller scale. Yeah, I think it really benefited from a little bit of a sea change there.
Out of curiosity, how many platinums do you have now as well?
Oh.
Do you know? I'm assuming it's double digits. Is it triple digits?
Yeah, it's definitely triple digits.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Maybe go around the table and I'll come back to you on that.
Yeah. I got 4 platinum trophies last year, which is like unheard of me. My total is 9, so I got nearly half of them last year alone. But I just kind of went on a bit of a tear and actually enjoyed trophy hunting for the first time. And I'm actually trophy hunting for another game at the moment. But Shannon, what did you play in the break?
I played a lot of FC24 with my brother because he was off work and bored, so he was constantly messaging me asking me to play. So that was what filled a lot of
playing
my time.
Online,
I'm trying to think what else. Yeah, online, a lot of games still going. He's just he gets obsessed with it. Like he goes through periods where just every day he wants to play it, and then I won't hear from him about it for months or years. And then
I feel like people that play sports games online are like a different breed. I've got some mates that are big like NBA guys, and in lieu of not having any other games to really play at the moment, I'm like, maybe I'll jump on to NBA and play with them. I play basketball in real life, so surely I could handle myself okay in a video game, but I'm yet to do that. I feel they're very serious about it, though.
That's all he plays. I don't think he's ever played anything else, like since like he was teen or a child. But yeah, that's literally just FIFA every year. Maybe like some NBA occasionally, but yeah, it's good. I like it to just unwind and not think about anything sort of work related or content related. It's a good game to just play for the sake of playing a game.
It's very social for me. It's like when I've got people around or whatever. And my girlfriend actually really enjoyed FIFA, so we play together occasionally. We started playing It Takes Two over the break, actually, which I think she's really enjoying. She gets very competitive with all those mini games, though. I think I'm yet to win any of them.
I'm sure she's whipping her ass.
Oh, she is. Yeah, absolutely. James, what about you? What did you play?
Lots, but not really. Like I'm looking through the list. I don't really. So I started with,
So no, go on. Sorry to interrupt.
I think my first game of the break was probably RoboCop.
Yeah, cool.
Which apparently is like very hard to find, but it was pretty fun. I thought it was solid for how.
What do you mean hard to find? Like
you can't
physical
get
copies of it?
Yeah, if you want to get a physical copy, they're like, I don't know if it's still the same, but I saw there were like copies on eBay going for like $150 or something.
Yeah, it's still like that. It's wild.
It's like, I don't know if just nobody pre-ordered it or what the go was.
Yeah. Surely that's only a matter of time, though, before they print some more.
I'm assuming just like nobody wanted it or ordered it, so that just nobody bought it, and then shops just don't have any because it actually wasn't that bad. But yeah, pretty good game. Like pretty solid. Better than I thought it would be. And then I tried Lords of the Fallen, and I bounced off it. I got about halfway through, bounced off it pretty hard. And then something that I wasn't expecting to like that I really enjoyed which I don't know might be controversial because of the AI stuff, but the finals is surprisingly good.
Yes, James.
Yes. Yeah, like it's not like a game that I would obviously normally play, but a friend wrangled me into it, and we are having a lot of fun. I don't know like how it will go long term. Like I don't see how it works, how they make it interesting. I feel like I've kind of already seen it all. Do you know what I mean? But so far like really solid, like gameplay wise. Just being able to destroy shit, like if the objective's above you, just destroy the floor above it and it will fall through to you. Like it's really fun. So yeah, that's my big ones.
Yeah, if you've not jumped onto the finals yet, I highly recommend it. It's just a really tight game mechanically. Like I love the different. Well, which character build are you? Are you medium, light, heavy?
So I was struggling a lot. My mate plays heavy with the hammer and stuff, and I feel like too many heavies like is fucked. So I ended up going. Once I got the sword, I went light. Because you can just like kind of like run in, grab shit, and then run back, and then a lot of the time you'll get the objective that way. Because I feel like a lot of people playing heavy because of the hammer, which I understand because you can just break anything. Like that's the appeal, right? But light is pretty fun. Medium's good if you're like, I think if you're super sweaty, you can probably get the most out of medium. But I'm playing like super casually, so there's no sweat yet.
Yeah, we've kind of played around with different team structures, would you believe, and found that like medium and heavy pairs really well, particularly in like the core quick cache kind of game mode, because you can kind of defend and lock down an area with like sentry turrets and healing and stuff. But then I'm a light like you for when we play quick cache, no, not quick cache, bank it, which is like the more kind of kill confirmed style mode, because it helps to be super zippy and travel the map quicker. But yeah, I'm stoked to hear that you're playing the finals, because I have played a lot of that game during the break and really enjoying it. Yeah, keen to get back to playing more of it. Would you believe though, James, that I spent a lot of my break playing I've forgotten what it's called, Resistance Retribution on the PlayStation Vita?
I would believe that. That's something you would do. What possessed you to do that?
It's because I played through like the roguelike mode of God of War.
Like Valhalla.
The Valhalla, yeah. Which I know what you're thinking. How the hell is this related?
Play Resistance on Vita. Like,
I thought maybe I could get the God of War collection on Vita, because I've never really played the original God of War games, and so a lot of the backstory that they were alluding to in Valhalla, I just wasn't getting. But it was going to be like $30. I'm like, well, let's see if I can actually stick it out with a PS Vita game, and I'll pick up Resistance Retribution for $10. Forgetting that was actually the PSP game first and foremost. So like, you're controlling your camera with the face buttons rather than the analog stick. It's super clunky. But I really enjoyed it. It was good fun.
I don't remember anything about that game. When you said it, I was like, I didn't even know there was a portable one. There wasn't a Vita one.
It's a sign of the times, that game, I tell you.
Wait, that is the Vita one. The Burning Skies, is that a Vita one?
I think that's the Vita one.
There's two Vita ones though, right?
Wow, okay, there you go. I don't remember that at all.
Oh, no, PSP. Resistance is PSP. Right, I've just realized. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So I think that was the mistake I made. But anyhow, that's what I spent a lot of my summer doing.
Bring back Resistance.
I played a lot of my Vita though, so I'm really excited for my PlayStation Portal. Like, I feel like I found a home for handheld gaming in the house. It was really nice just having the cricket on throughout the summer and then just playing a game on my Vita.
It's a different gaming experience, isn't it? Just playing a handheld on your couch or in bed.
Actually should have put this on the notes, but you've got a PlayStation Portal now, right, Shannon?
I do, yes.
How are you finding it?
I was telling Kieron today, it's a weird one because it's like probably the best handheld that I've used, like in terms of like form factor, with its like massive screen and like literally just a controller split in half. But like, given it is just dependent on your Wi-Fi, it's working 100% of the time. Like, I haven't had a single dropout or like a disconnection or anything like that. But like, it's just very obvious between when it's running at like 1080p 60, which looks like you're playing a PS5 game on a handheld. Till then, like, you get like, it drops down in frame rate or a bit of lag, or the quality degrades, and then obviously it's a bit at odds with itself when that happens. So yeah, given its Wi-Fi, like, it's not going to shock anyone here. I think we've had many debates about it. Like, it's not perfect. I don't think it's going to be perfect for anyone, because like, if in my small house with my mesh systems, like, it doesn't work perfectly. Like, I don't know. It's good. I'm still using it every night. I'm gonna keep using it every night, but you do feel like it could have been so much more. And I think that's what a lot of people will find. But if you do like remote play and use it already, like it is a great device for that. But yeah, it just makes me want like another Vita or something like a PS5 handheld so much more, to be honest. Which is a compliment to it.
If it was running games natively on it.
Yeah, which is not possible, but like some kind of local streaming or something that doesn't rely on wireless. It would have been a 10 for me if that were the case.
What sort of percentage of your time do you reckon it's working seamlessly versus kind of glitching out?
It's that's the thing. It's never not working. Like I don't use remote play a lot, but I did try it back in like the Vita and the PSP days, and it would like cut out or like come to a complete halt. Like that's never happening. Like it's working all of the time. It's just again.
Why are you yelling?
I don't know. I had a few drinks before this, so I'm going to be probably more passionate than I normally would be. It's working all the time. It's just like I said, like it can be 1080p 60 if you're fine, but then if my partner starts downloading something, or I don't know, like my PC starts downloading something, or something downloading in the background, or you're playing online, like just 1% is all it takes for that to drop a little bit, and you're never sure what's causing it, right? Because like you just don't know in a Wi-Fi situation. Like, is it interference? Is it a device connected? Is it just weirdness blocking the connection? Like, there's always going to be variables, even in your house. So, it is what it is. But it never, like I said, it never stops working. It just might drop for a period, or I think it's fine for single player games and like slower paced games. You're not going to be entering tournaments online with it, but for playing in bed or playing on the couch, like it's totally fine.
Have you played out of the house at all?
A little bit. I haven't. That's still the one thing I have to test. It works. Again, it takes a little bit longer to connect, but it works. There's just a bit more lag, and again, it's an internet experience which isn't ideal. That is the one thing I will say. Like, you literally pick it up, turn it on, and you're connected in like 2 seconds. So for that point of view, like it's great. Like, it feels super seamless, and it works well. But again, like that makes me even more upset. Like when it doesn't work, because you can see that it's how good the screen is. Like when you're in the initial UI and things like that, and then if you get a poor connection initially, like it just, I don't know. I'm probably more OCD than a lot of people as well. So if something's not working, like I want to know why that is. And with Wi-Fi, like you can't, like you all know how it is. Like if you're getting cutouts one night, like you just never know what's causing it. And like whilst gaming, that's highlighted tenfold. Yeah,
I'm really hoping the recent upgrades I've made to my network at home with the Eero mesh network, upon your recommendation, Shannon, that it's kind of maybe stable enough now that I get a pretty good, like if I was to get the occasional dropout, but like 90% of the time it works pretty seamlessly, I would be stoked with that.
And that's what it is. Like I don't want to sound negative on it, because I'm not at all. Like we all knew it wasn't going to be a perfect experience. It's good like 98% of the time, and it never cuts out or never stops working. It's just there are times it works perfectly and sometimes when it doesn't, and I'm not really sure why. But hopefully it gets better with time.
Battery life been?
It's pretty good. It's like roughly the DualSense, so like what's that, like 5-6 hours, and it just uses USB-C. So just plug it in bed or whatever, and it charges right back up. But the screen is amazing. Like the controller, or like the feel of it is amazing. The haptics and the vibration and the sound, like they're the things that never cut out. So even when you get stutters, like they all stay true to it, which again, like does become a little bit jarring at times. But the overall experience is fantastic. It's just the connection that falls over a little bit at times.
Yeah. Cool. I'm excited for it, as like maybe it's pursuing trophies in bed or that kind of thing, but I'm spending a bit more time at the moment with single player games, and playing through a bit of a back catalog, and hopefully that's a trend that continues. Probably not, so the year gets busier, let's face it, but I can see it being really handy for that, just like kicking back in bed, having a lazy start to the day, and still making some progress on your games before you get out and make breakfast. Anyhow, we should crack on with the rest of the show. Kieron, over the break, you did play another game though, and that was Like a Dragon: Infinite Wealth. You published the preview on the website in the past week. What's your history with the franchise, and how did you find this game thus far?
Yeah, I mean, I've been playing the Like a Dragon or like previously Yakuza games since like the PS2 iteration. So, I've been following the series for ages. And I think the previous one, Like a Dragon 7, is probably one of my favorites. The switch to like the turn-based battle system obviously works really well for me and my Final Fantasy tendencies. Like the characters they introduced are great. So like, yeah, very excited to check this one out because it's a continuation of more of that, plus a little bit of like what made the previous games good. But yeah, the preview was interesting because it's like it's almost like a game of thirds because you've got the main character Kasuga and he's like in Hawaii in the game and there's like a whole game there, and then the previous protagonist Kiryu also has his whole section of the game back in Japan, and then on top of that they have like the Stardew Valley / Animal Crossing-esque like resort management sim thing as well. So there's like 3 vastly different experiences, and that's kind of how they split up the preview by giving us like about an hour of each one.
Right.
So it's really cool to check out like how they all differ. You know, Hawaii is a completely new location for the game, which you know, it's a series that typically recycles a lot of locations, so like that's really exciting. And you know, in an hour I had in that area, like I barely scratched the surface of what I could find there in terms of like content and mini games and side stories and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it was very, very positive, like super cool updates to the combat system, lots of new stuff to see, good new characters, good returning characters. It's just you know, 3 hours out of what's probably going to be like 100+ hour game, so it's hard to say how it all pans out in the future. But yeah, no,
maybe
very
it's
cool.
a little bit hard to tell from the demo you've able to play, but like the 3 kind of sections of the game you played, if that's the right word for it, like is there a sense of cohesion to them? Like, do they gel, or is that not really the point?
Yeah, that part's difficult because they were just like I played chapter 5, chapter 8, and then the island resort thing is its own thing completely that you can go to at any point. So like they were kind of just disparate parts of the story. So yeah, kind of hard to tell, but I imagine like it's like those games have always been like you'll do a little part of the story and then you'll spend like 10 hours, you know, doing karaoke and playing darts and stuff, and then go back to the story. So like the pacing and like the cadence of things is always off anyway. Yeah.
I wondered what Shannon was doing there. He's just adjusting his mic. He was freaking me out. All right, well, let's crack on with some news. The rumor mill is abuzz again with speculation that Xbox games are coming to other platforms, including the PlayStation 5 and Nintendo Switch, after a number of industry insiders have made comments on podcasts during the break. Responding to a previous claim on the Native Hate podcast, Jeff Grubb, a frequent source of information for unannounced goodies, said on the Giant Bomb podcast that Sea of Thieves is a title set to appear elsewhere. James, I'm going to come to you first. We've long speculated that a shift in Xbox's strategy away from kind of pushing its hardware first and foremost to diversifying and making software and maybe even a subscription service available on other platforms could be on the cards. Do you reckon that 2024 is the year that we kind of see that start to take effect?
Yeah, I think so for Microsoft. I don't see Sony doing this or like Nintendo doing it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like maybe it's because obviously Microsoft is coming third. They just want to like, you know, get their shit out there. I can definitely see a lot of this stuff happening for sure. Yeah, that's I don't know. There's not much more,
so what you were saying is you don't see PlayStation publishing their games on other platforms. It's just kind of like because Xbox is in third place that...
Like right now, the Microsoft Nintendo kind of partnership with, say, a lot of the Xbox games that come to Switch. Like Ori, as an example.
Yeah.
it doesn't seem to be both ways. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't think nothing seems to come from Nintendo to Xbox, which, like, to me, I don't know, it's definitely one-sided. And I can see Microsoft, say, putting Sea of Thieves on PlayStation and Switch. I don't know how that game would run on Switch, but I can see that happening because those games would fuel a lot of recurrent spending, and they are as good as the population is big, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I understand it kind of, but then I can't help but feel like this is just Microsoft wanting to kind of, you know, have their cake and eat it too. Like with Game Pass, they were trying to step away. They don't really care about people buying games as much because they want people to be subscribing, but then they kind of want people to also be buying games, obviously, because Game Pass has kind of fostered this, what's the word, like, audience that doesn't buy games. They just wait for games to go to Game Pass, like, and that's obviously not particularly helpful, especially for newer games launching on the system that aren't first party, you know?
Yeah.
That was like a lot of thoughts all at once, but yeah, I don't. Yes, I think this year you'll see a lot of that in short, because I think especially to fill gaps in their schedule financially, like they'll be able to bring in more money by chucking, say, a game on Switch or a game on PlayStation. If need be.
Maybe it could even be rather reactionary rather than deliberate to, like you said, kind of plugging those holes as they sort of need to in their schedule by releasing X game onto other platform.
I genuinely would not be surprised if this year their big game is like Hellblade and that's it. Like, I would not be surprised if there was nothing else. Like, the cadence of releases from them is just like so average, and I think it's just going to continue.
I think so long as, like, I can't see it kind of being helpful at the, like, every game comes to every platform kind of out of the gate. I think Sea of Thieves makes a lot of sense because it benefits from community so much, and it's obviously like kind of like a free-to-play title that you can jump in and invest in over time and stuff. And it's a really good game, and it's been on Xbox platforms for long enough, so I feel like they're going to kind of... Anyone that was desperate to play that game probably will have already picked up an Xbox and played it, but if you kind of make it available elsewhere, someone that's kind of not even necessarily been on the fence about it, but had it in the back of their mind, might give it a go, and maybe you convert a loyal fan thereafter. But I think so long as Game Pass or like Xbox platforms kind of become the first and foremost destination for their games, then that makes sense. But like Starfield, could that come to PlayStation at some point this year? I think it makes total sense for them to do that.
And I think that's the point. Like, I agree with everything you both said. Like, if Sea of Thieves does come to PlayStation, like, it's been, I don't know, like 10 years. Like, everyone that has an Xbox has played it, and I think they will make some money back. But, like, then you don't really... I think Xbox, of the three, like, don't want people asking those questions in terms of, like, is this going to come to something else later on? I feel like they need every first party win they can get, even if it is something that released 8 years ago. Like, I don't think they need people questioning that and waiting for games to come to other platforms. So it's a weird one. And I think, like James said, like, Nintendo doesn't put their games on anything else. PlayStation, PC, like 3 or 4 years later, but they'd never release a game on Xbox. So yeah, I know that Xbox's strategy is different, but it does weaken their first party offering and make people less likely to buy an Xbox, in my opinion. No matter what the game is. So yeah,
I think as well that that's just an extension of what happened when they started putting everything on PC. Like, a lot of people wouldn't buy an Xbox because they knew they could get it on PC. And then if they just create this kind of pattern of behavior where they release stuff on other consoles later, people will just wait, you know? So I don't really know if it solves a problem for them, but like,
I think it only works if they make the wait kind of arduous, right? Like, maybe in hindsight it's kind of too soon to make Starfield available on other platforms.
And like, I don't want to be like
for ages, like that
incredibly
that
like rude, but they have to make the wait. Like, people want to wait for it. Like, I don't think anyone is like super missing like Starfield.
Sure,
now.
yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? Like, that it's not a bad game, but it didn't really take the world by storm. Like, you would expect, say, a game from the people who made Skyrim and Fallout 3 to you know. But I think that's the first thing they have to sort out first and foremost.
Yeah, I agree, but I almost think they would if they did release Starfield on PlayStation, at least that would make them tens of millions of dollars. Or it's like Sea of Thieves or Hi-Fi Rush, which I think we're going to speak about. It's not going to move the needle that much. Where Starfield, you would see a return on investment, and you'd still charge $120 for it, and it's free on Game Pass. I think that's fine. I don't know. It's so complex.
Let's not forget that I guess PlayStation do this as well, right? Their games are available on PC and they charge kind of full price for them.
I think it's just
year,
I think
2
it's
years after
different
release
because of Game Pass. Like James said, Xbox already have this thing where you're not paying for games, and I think that just changes the perception of value. I don't know. It's just different.
It does.
I think PlayStation has a loyal audience of day one people.
I absolutely agree. No, I don't think anybody is not going to buy, say, I'm not going to say Rise of Ronin because I feel like that's not a good example. But let's just say Ghost of Tsushima 2. No one's going to not buy that because it might be on PlayStation Extra later. I feel like everybody will buy that straight away. Whereas, what upsets me the most about say the kind of attitudes that Game Pass has kind of fostered is you'll get say a really good game say Cult of the Lamb, which is $30, and so many people when I was bought it, played it, enjoyed it, and I was telling people I loved it. They're like, "Oh, I'll just wait for it to come to Game Pass," and it never has. But I just can't help but think that that audience, the games don't sell in that ecosystem anymore as much as say putting them on other consoles, and then you get that ripple-on effect we talked about last year, where some developers who are smaller don't even bother, and even some Japanese developers don't bother at all either for obvious reasons. I feel
we can't kind of understate the importance of launch day sales or launch week sales for games too. Maybe a bad example, but the day before just came out, and because it didn't make the money at launch that they needed, that game's dead and buried, and which may be a worst case scenario. But for anything that's kind of contingent on
Xbox
initial sales I'm just saying on any game that's contingent on early sales to maintain its longevity, that's kind of a risk. Cult of the Lamb's getting DLC in the near future, its expansion. Maybe that wouldn't have happened if the launch day sales weren't so good.
Do you think having launch parity, having a game launch on both platforms at once, helps Xbox get people into Game Pass? So if there's more people in that conversation, the PlayStation audience is huge compared to the Xbox audience. If they launched a game on both and everyone on PlayStation was talking about it, do you think that would help them be well, you could buy a $700 console and a $100 game, or if you've got a Samsung TV, give us $20 and you can play it right now? Yeah. Do you think there's benefit to doing that, just to have so the launch is bigger, so there is more of a conversation?
On paper, yes, I think we've all been saying that for 6 or 7 years, but the reality of it is I know, my brother or a lot of people I know that are casual gamers and have a PlayStation, they wouldn't even know what Xbox Cloud Gaming is, or would never think to use it on their TV. So yes, on paper, I think that should be what happens, because you can literally just do it on your TV and it'll be fine for most people. But I don't think that's cutting through, and it might just be an internet thing, or it was never going to happen overnight. But I don't really know why that isn't more of a thing, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree. I'm shocked at how much it works when I do bother.
I still kind of think though that if you to Kieran's point, if you kind of if you got a taste of what Xbox was doing and liked their games enough that you would go, oh, you know what, actually Xbox is putting out some good games, and I'm paying $100 a pop each time on PlayStation. I could just get an Xbox Series S, even not even the X, and pay that same sort of money.
100%.
And then subscribe to Game Pass and get games cheaper thereafter. I think it could tempt some people to do that, but whether I don't think Xbox it's happening have fast the quality enough of games coming out now and in the horizon that actually
I think that's the problem. Is the issue. I think Shannon's right. It's just it's been. I feel like when was the first Game Pass game that was Crackdown 3, and that wasn't really starting things super strong, and then I just feel it hasn't pulled, and then Forza and Obviously,
and
Starfield
Redfall.
was
like
the
it's
big one.
unlucky. They've been unlucky.
I know it is
think.
but it's incredibly unlucky. Like it's like multiple instances of being unlucky. It's like beyond. Like they need like a big heavy hit. I don't. It's frustrating. And I'm saying this like you guys all know. Like I play my Xbox more than my PlayStation. Like I'm not somebody who is just being a dickhead to Microsoft for the sake of it. But like it is frustrating. Like it reminds me of when I was a Nintendo fan during the Wii U. Like just waiting for that next like hit. And it never comes. Like, but yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I would love Sea of Thieves to come across to other platforms, mostly because of the ability to play that game with other people that don't have an Xbox platform at their disposal. Like, I think that's a fantastic game.
Yeah,
I would love to be able to jump in and play it with others. Yeah. Grounded, I think, is another one that I would love to see kind of being made available to other platforms. And Hi-Fi Rush, I haven't played. There's nothing stopping me from doing so. Yeah, given that like the PlayStation is the one that's in my living room and that much more available, if it was on that platform, I'd probably be far more likely to play it. Yeah. Does anyone have anything else?
The only other thing that I was thinking this week, and it's like going to sound like such an obvious dumb thought, but I was just seeing a lot of people weighing in on how like it's a good thing if all games come to all platforms, and I agree. But I feel like there's always a constant pressure on Xbox and PlayStation, but I feel like no one ever brings Nintendo into the conversation. Like, why is it okay that Nintendo don't release their games anywhere else? I feel
like
I'm not saying they should. I'm just saying how is it not the same thing?
I think it depends. I think during the Wii U, I think everyone was calling for them to go through. I think it depends on how successful they are, right? Like
they've pulled themselves out of the grave.
So like with Wii U, like it's like well they're duds. Like just put everything elsewhere. And now obviously with Switch, they don't need to do anything. So
I'm not saying they should. I'm just saying why.
I'm not saying that that's
especially
what you're
when games run better on PC. Like you can play Zelda in 4K, right? Like, and again, I'm not saying they should do that because I don't think it would be a good business move.
I think you are saying that.
But why are they different is what I'm asking. Like, why... We know why it's different because they're profitable and they don't need to do it. But I don't understand why why the sentiment can be like Xbox and PlayStation shouldn't be an issue, but then for Nintendo, like it's just fine. I don't understand that side of it.
I think it's just different audiences talking about those games. That's like, and I think Nintendo people having been one for a long time in my life, are very protective of their big corporation that they
I
love.
love this like narrative they're creating now of like James is a reformed Nintendo fan.
he just floats between when the conversation's right.
I wouldn't be here if it weren't for the Wii U. I would never have asked Shannon to let me review a game. But yeah, I love Nintendo too.
I hear what you're saying though, Shannon. I hear what you're saying. It's like when this discussion comes up, as it inevitably does, like every year or so, like people maybe don't include Nintendo.
But James is right. Now that he says the Wii U era, I do remember that was like a thing. Like, should they just fold and release there? And like the Wii when like they couldn't do high definition.
And people just look at Sega because that's what happened to them, right? Like with the Dreamcast, they just Sonic's on everything now.
I mean, yeah. I guess the frustrating thing is good games are still coming out for Xbox, and you kind of want those the spotlight on those. Wait, I just like Grounded, mentioned Sea of Thieves, Hi-Fi Rush, like the Starfield, like there's good games there, right?
ESO expansion.
You kind of want them to get their time in the spotlight, and it's hard to do that if they're languishing on a platform that's kind of in third place. I'm using incendiary language, but you get my point. And maybe Wii U is the same thing, and that's kind of why we then saw like a spate of ports coming over to Switch, because it's like, well, actually, there's a ton of great games here that no one played because you didn't buy this console. Yeah, I don't know. I think we do forget there was a time where console manufacturers didn't necessarily make money on the console sales, and everything was much more contingent on software. But those days are kind of behind us, and like money is made on selling consoles now.
I don't think there is there. I don't think there is.
Nintendo would be on the Switch. It's
I don't
like
think for PlayStation.
Yeah,
I think Nintendo
Switch,
consistently has.
Yeah,
but
absolutely,
I think,
but not like Xbox and PlayStation. I don't think that's the case at all. I reckon
you
it's
don't
all
think
in
they're
subs
making
and
money
games.
on those consoles anymore?
No way, mate. Like.
I don't reckon. When you think about the value
literally, like how much it costs to buy.
I Yeah,
Mate,
I thought,
think about it.
I would like to fact check.
I was
this,
going to
'cause
let that
I
slide,
thought
but
there
I'm not.
was.
This year,
I
Ewan,
thought
I'm
there
calling you
was
out
new-
more on your shit.
On
Just
your
letting you know.
bullshit.
Yeah.
I thought there was a big deal made of the fact that they like actually did turn a profit on these this time around.
They become
I thought-
profitable.
I thought
after
this was a
certain
news
point.
story.
Like, yeah, no.
Okay, all right.
Kieron, weigh in. Be the
Someone, yeah.
I think the PS5 Slim is profitable, like a little bit, but I don't think it's
Well, it
like
would be more.
Like
I don't think it's-
$12 a console
Yeah,
or something.
it's
they're
not
not
like
making hundreds. Like they're with shipping and everything. I think it'll all come out in the wash.
But what is the software premium? That's a reference everyone's
It's
forgotten
interesting.
about.
I think it is going to be a year where we do see people try new things and just try and make money where they can. So yeah, it's interesting that both of these things popped up within. I don't know if it was just wires crossed or what was going on, but we'll wait and see.
Yeah. I'm excited for it at the very least. Before we move on though, I want to tell you more about these SteelSeries mics that we're using here on the show. We're big fans of SteelSeries products, and their new Alias mics are no exception. They are perfect for gamers like us who want hassle-free, professional-sounding audio quality. We've all got enough stress in our lives. We don't need complicated microphone setups, so when I could just plug in mine with a single USB connection, I was stoked. The Sonar AI software that they pair with make it set up super easy, and offers a bunch of useful options, including noise cancelling, volume mixing, equalization, and more. Already having a SteelSeries headset myself, it's super convenient for me to manage everything and take full advantage all within the one piece of software. But massive thanks again, SteelSeries, for supporting the show in the new year. Speaking of the new year, it is 2024 now, and I'm interested to quiz each of you on what your most anticipated games are for the year so far. And admittedly, compiling this list myself, there's not a huge amount of games we kind of know about in 2024, I don't feel. Or not as much as I'd like, but maybe that's just me. Kieron, what about you, though? What are some of your most excited, or the games you're most excited for this year?
I mean, Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth is obviously one that's very, very soon. And
Very
Final
soon.
Fantasy VII Rebirth, which is next month. So like the immediate future for me is looking good, and Dragon's Dogma 2 as well. Like the next like 2 or 3 months, I'm very, very keen for. But looking down the track, like yeah, you're right. It's hard. There's lots of really cool kind of smaller games that I'm keen for, like Pacific Drive, which I don't know if you've seen anything about that, but it's like a roguelike run-based driving game in like a nuclear fallout wilderness. It's really cool. And The Plucky Squire is probably another good example of like a smaller game that I'm really, really keen for. And I don't know, Princess Peach Showtime is probably a good example, but like,
Just
I
like
don't
every
know.
game that's coming out.
It kind of just drops off after like, yeah, that's it, all of them.
Yeah.
It kind of just drops off after like April. So I'm keen to see like what's out there.
Yeah, I don't think we've got much of a visual on like what's happening in the latter half of this year so far at all. On the topic of smaller games though, Angerfoot is a game I'm really excited for, and hopefully that emerges this year. If you can't remember that one, it is the the dogs don't like Angerfoot. It's the Devolver game where it's kind of 3D but Hotline Miami sort of style, kind of fast-paced, moving through rooms, taking out enemies, kicking them a lot until you pick up other weapons, but very stylized. Looks a lot of fun. What about yourself, Shannon? What games are you excited for in 2024?
Definitely Princess Peach Showtime. I think like Super Princess Peach is one of my favorite Mario World games, so it's cool to see her back in the spotlight.
How long has it been since we got a dedicated Princess Peach game? When did that one come out?
That was the last one, and that would have been like 15 years ago, I want to say, or
It's on the
pushing
DS,
20.
right?
Yeah,
2005.
yeah, so 20 years.
Jeez.
Justice for Peach. Star Wars Outlaws is probably the other one that comes to mind that like I'm keen for. Day one, I think Ubisoft is sort of due a win, and that looks really cool. So I'm keen to see that hopefully this year.
My concern with Outlaw is that in my head, I want it to just be more Jedi Survivor
Oh my God,
style
no.
thing.
I don't reckon
And
it's going to be that far off.
It's going to be...
No,
let's
it's not
just
gonna
hope
be that.
It'll be its own thing. Let's hope for that too.
Yeah. I have such hope for that game, but I really worry it's going to feel like a far lesser version of Jedi Survivor.
I'm sure it won't be. The bar is not high.
Hang on, what do you mean by that, James?
No,
you know what he's trying to do, and you're like feeding right into it, Ewan. Like, are you okay?
I don't know if he's trying to reassure me that it's going to be just as good, or if it's going to be like way worse. I don't know if he's agreeing with me or trying to reassure me.
It'll be better than Jedi Survivor.
Because it's a 0 out of 10.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, apart from that, looking through the list, there's not a lot that really gets me excited at this point. I wish I could say there was, but yeah, it's a bit unknown after like March, April. I'm sure there will be some cool stuff. I think we spoke about this, that I don't think it's going to be as big of a year as last year, where it was just like almost every franchise you can think of had a game.
Thank God.
So yeah, I don't think it's going to be anything like that. But who knows? Who knows what the year has?
Do you hold out any hope that Wolverine will come out this year? No, that's a 2025 game.
I don't know what PlayStation are doing, to be honest.
Rise of Ronin.
Rise of Ronin, Helldivers.
Helldivers I'm keen for.
Yeah, I'd forgotten Helldivers was like so soon as well, actually. But yeah, I'm keen to give that a go. I'm not expecting the world of it, to be honest. I'm like just expecting it to be fun for a handful of hours, but all the same, I did surprisingly enjoy the first one, and this looks like a considerable step up, obviously, with like the kind of just whole different approach.
Maybe it'd be like a Returnal and surprise us.
Yeah, it could well be. I really didn't expect a lot from Returnal, and that was a very pleasant surprise. What about yourself, James? You got some most anticipated games of the year?
I do.
No Resi this year.
I know, it's a sad year. It's a bit, yeah. There was no...
Peaks and troughs.
Yeah, it's fine. I agree. I'm looking forward to Outlaws. I think it looks pretty good. I think it's nice to play something that's not like a Jedi-focused game as well. I'm keen to see how Hellblade shakes out, even though I wasn't that keen on the last trailer. And then the other, like, two smaller, like, James picks would be, like, Alone in the Dark and Banishes. I got to play Banishes last year, and I really enjoyed what I played. And I was really keen to see more. That's the, like, one where you play as the ghost hunters from, the people who made Vampire and Life is Strange. So, yeah, like, really
sold me on the game at that time. I remember you talking about it on the podcast.
It was a fun time. A brief time, but a fun time, which is all we want. My big one is definitely like Dragon's Dogma, though. Like, I don't know how, I can't really put into words how excited I am for that, because I just don't think Capcom does wrong at this stage. Even like the DMC5 team did such a good job with that game, and this is that team now, so I think that's my number one. I have two that I'm really keen on that are the next bullet point here. I don't know if you want to talk about it or not, but I'm still not sure on.
Can't even remember what I had on the show notes.
Yeah.
Metal Gear Solid 3 and Silent Hill 2 confirmed for 2024 on a PlayStation blog.
Absolutely.
Those two high up your list then, James.
So yeah, like I'm keen on those, but like I'm not excited for them. Like I'm like the trailer.
Well, I guess you know what you're in for, right?
The mud filter is gone.
Well, like I don't know that Ewan. I think with like say like a Resident Evil remake, they are so different from the original game that you don't know what you're in for. But I just don't trust. I feel like the Metal Gear Solid game is going to be the same. Like I feel like that's going to be. It's going to look really nice. Like it's using the same dub. You know, there's not a lot. I feel like it's going to be the same game. But Silent Hill 2 is just like such an enigma to me. Like I don't know. It was announced almost 2 years ago.
It's impossible for it to.
Yeah, it's just one of those games where, like, culturally, it's got sits so high up at everybody's lists and stuff. It's not even my favorite Silent Hill game, but and then that trailer just doesn't looks good technically, but like I don't know if they can pull it off given how the other games they've made, you know. But I'm keen to see how it shakes out.
Yeah, I'm given. That's a series I don't really have much connection to in much of the same way that the remakes of the Resident Evil games that kind of brought me into that franchise. I'm interested to see if Silent Hill does the same sort of thing for me as well. I noticed no one's mentioned Suicide Squad killed the Justice League.
Okay, that's a good point.
Is that notable?
I was going to say that.
I didn't see that on my list. Oh, there it is. Okay. No, I didn't.
I'm keen to give it a go.
I'm yeah, I don't know. Sure, I'll play
I'm
it.
feeling more
play
positive
everything, like-
about this game the nearer to launch we get.
Why is
So
that?
yeah,
Let's unpack that.
because
Just because it's actually launching.
Well, that's always a plus.
I think
Because-
you'll play it, Ewan. You're the most likely to enjoy it.
yeah, yeah. I think it is a game up my wheelhouse.
Thinly veiled insult.
And kind of based on the kind of reactions, like the technical test and stuff, like it's kind of got me feeling a bit more optimistic about it. I'm not, again, it's like,
Did any of you play it? Like in that batch? Was
Yeah.
it? Are we allowed to talk about that or not?
well, that's what I'm not sure about.
Oh, was it closed? Oh, okay. Sorry.
One thing.
Yes. Sorry.
Anyhow, based
Bye.
on other reactions to it that have said stuff that I'm not allowed to say, it's got me feeling more positive about it. Take from that
Very
what you will.
interesting.
But yeah, what else was I going to mention? Fuck, I've totally forgotten the other game that I was going to mention now.
Was it Last of Us Part 2 remastered? Because you haven't mentioned that.
I mean, that's a given. That's like also out so soon though, but that is a given. Given how much I loved Valhalla, I'm really excited to play No Return and kind of see what that is all like. I'm not expecting it to do the
Naruto.
same story-wise. No Return.
I didn't know what he was saying either.
I
but-
thought he said Naruto, and I was like,
Did
it's
I,
a Naruto.
did I say that funny? I'm sorry. This is the first podcast back there, guys. I'm warming back up. This muscle has not been exercised in a while. But yeah, I'm not expecting the same level of kind of like story and character development that was in like Valhalla. I'm expecting it to be much more bare bones, but all the same, what they kind of did kind of structurally with the roguelike, I really enjoyed, and I'm keen to see that applied to Last of Us. And yeah, I'm going to join Kieron as well in Final Fantasy. Given I still have never had this big, like, earth-shattering Final Fantasy VII thing spoiled for me, and it wasn't really a feature of the first game, I don't know if I'm going to see that in Rebirth,
Yeah, I don't
but I'm
know
still
either.
excited to continue
Do you reckon?
that story.
You will see
this
like
that bit?
when it happens, but we don't know if you'll see if it happens.
Yeah, I think you're
That's
gonna
the
change
thing.
it, Ewan. That's the thing. I don't think you're gonna get that.
Yeah.
This is the thing about this. Yeah, I don't know. But this this is my favorite part of FF7, so I'm keen to like play that too. I forgot about that. The first part,
Yeah.
was not my jam.
Yeah, as long as we don't get stuck in any more train yards, am I right?
Not my jam.
No, there's no more
Should be a
train
new
yards.
segment.
Not my
Not my
jam.
jams.
Not my jam with
Jams.
James. Jam. Yeah. But let me throw one more thing in. I'm
Yeah.
excited for.
I
Wait
love how
for
we've
it.
gradually
To
thinking about more and more
exclusively reveal.
games.
Was this a rapid fire? Because I.
No.
Oh, okay, good. Switch 2.
Oh,
It's not a game.
curveball. Not get it out.
The first video game that comes out on
PS5
Switch 2.
Pro.
Metroid Prime 4. Like, I don't know.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, I reckon we have to get a Switch 2 this year, right?
That is this year.
Surely.
Absolutely.
Mark your diaries. Pull out your
Give us
Kiki
a date.
K's.
When do you
Chuck in
when
your
do you
planner.
think? I'm sure I've asked you this every podcast, but like, it's got to
don't
be in the
know.
lead up towards Christmas, right?
I think I reckon announcement in March. Are we doing a predictions episode?
Announcement in March,
Should,
yeah.
should I hold
Maybe?
on to these?
Next week.
Yeah, next week we're going to do predictions.
Yeah,
And next week as well, we're going to talk about our official Press Start Game of the Year list. I wanted to do it with Brody, who couldn't be on the show today, but yeah, that's in store for next week as well. I did remember that other game, The Wolf Among Us 2. Excited
Oh,
for
shit,
that
yeah.
in
Good call.
2024 as well. That's actually a few hits this year. Could be another year of
Yeah.
bangers. Maybe. We'll see. I do have a rapid fire question for you, though, seeing as you mentioned it, James. Definitely going along in the podcast. I didn't expect this. But rapid fire question. Over the break, Microsoft announced an Xbox Series S toaster to accompany the Xbox Series X fridge previously released. Shannon, what Xbox appliance would you like to see next?
You know where my mind went. Oh, God, I didn't read this, so I literally haven't thought of anything. An Xbox iced coffee maker that I don't know what that would have to do with Xbox, but I'll take any kind of iced coffee appliance.
It just like dribbles out of the disc tray.
Little
or...
Xbox ice dispensed into it.
Probably like an Xbox air fryer collaboration.
Yes.
Like the OG Xbox, like like it flips up, like a grill.
That's a good shout.
I don't want
That is
that.
a good shout.
Just clarifying, but I just thought
No,
I'd throw it out
you're
there.
getting it now.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Kieron, do you have any other genius
I don't have
ideas
anything.
to
I
pass
didn't
to
think about this
Xbox's
either.
product development team?
The Xbox cat scratcher.
Oh yeah.
Seeing as I'm boiling hot in my room right now, I want an Xbox Series X with the fan reversed so it just blows out the top, and I just need that right in front
Just
of my
hot air?
face right now. Just hot. Yeah. Yeah. Hang on. Yeah, it wouldn't need to be reversed. It blows that way anyhow. You're very right. Just cold air. Maybe it could be an attachment to the... This was a dumb
water-cooled
rapid-fire
first.
question. I'm sorry, everyone. What the Wiki is the Press Start podcast game show where the previous week's winner reads part of a Wikipedia page for an unknown game, and we, the contestants, must guess the game. A point is awarded for each correct guess, and the round ends after a person bags themselves 2 points. As last year's and season's winner, I am not going to make James host, because that would be unfair. I've just written myself into a corner with the show notes. I actually prepared the games this year. I'm gonna be nice and take the first one. But here on out, whoever wins the round will prepare What the Wiki for the following week and host it. But contestants, if you're ready, I will read you your games and kick off the 2024 season. Are we ready?
Let's do it.
Beginning
Always.
development for PlayStation 3 in 2008, the game was conceived prior to the director's work
Shannon.
on Silent Hill
Kieron.
and the... Shannon?
I was going to say The Last Guardian, but
That's what I was gonna say.
throw me.
James.
James?
Is it Gravity Rush?
It is Gravity Rush. Well done, James.
a
Holy
shame.
moly.
Nice work.
Holy moly. All right, 1 to James. James the first entering and
Give
scoring,
us a go
defending
in this
his
early
What the Wiki
time.
championship.
We need. Well, if you don't want me to win, come up with a new format. Like,
All right, game number 2. Upon announcement, because of its heavy focus on touchscreen controls, the game was anticipated as a game for mobile devices. However, the developers did not confirm the game for any of these platforms at the time. At the PlayStation Experience in 2014, in December, the developer announced that the game would be released on PS Vita, continuing the trend of the studio's previous games of releasing on PlayStation platforms first. After being delayed, Drinkbox Studios released the game in April... Kieron?
Oh shit! No, I've forgotten the name of it. God damn it!
You can picture it though, can't you?
I can. Shit.
can I queue up, James?
Yeah, go.
Oh, I was going to, but I was being polite until he spoke.
Oh, go on then.
You know how it works, Shannon.
No, we've never had queuing rules. Shannon, you go.
Oh.
Oh. It's one. I can't remember the other one it is, which I'm sure it is. I was going to say guacamole, but it's
It's the other one.
yeah, it's the which I kind of think I know the name of it, but no, go.
Do you want to take a punt?
No,
Nope, he's not taking a punt. It's all
I
you,
played
James.
it.
We just didn't want James to answer.
Severed.
It is 7, James. Well done.
Good job.
That was
And that's a
upsetting,
clean
wasn't it?
sweep. So he starts off with 3
Yeah.
points, everyone. On the PS Vita game category that I created for you all this.
My
this
favorite console.
Yeah. I obviously picked it, seeing as I played a lot of Vita in the break.
Nice.
And Gravity Rush is getting a movie?
Yeah, they announced that 2022.
I don't know if I just deleted that from my memory or just missed the news,
Yeah, I had
but
nothing either.
that
Where's the
surprised me
game?
to see footage of that at CES. Nuts. Yeah, I just
should
didn't
bring
think
those
those games
back.
were that popular enough to really warrant a film, but
I don't think those
Yes,
games will
they
exist
don't
anymore,
need to
though,
do
right?
it big.
With like new Sony. Like, I don't think that kind of.
No, it sucks because they were so good.
oh,
Yeah,
they would
I
do
love
Well,
them.
Japan
a
is
Gravity
gone,
Rush 3. Yeah.
so
The studio.
the studio. Yeah,
This- okay.
Country.
who would do it?
With that, let's bring an end to what was this week's episode of the Press Start podcast. Once again, brought to you today by SteelSeries and their new range of Alias microphones. Subscribe to us on Listener or the podcast service of your choice. Follow us at press.au and visit the site at press.com.au. We've been joined today by Shannon.
Yeah, you can follow me at Shannon Grixie on everything.
Also joining us today was James.
Yeah, you can find me on Exit at Jams, ATJAMZ.
And last but not least, it was Kieron.
Yeah, HASH_BRAUN on X.
And I've been your host, Ewan Roxburgh. You can follow me on Twitter or Threads at Ewan_Roxburgh. Thanks again for tuning in, and until next time, happy gaming.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.